shadows roaming empty hallways.
Holy
Footage showing things no one can explain. Streams ending abruptly. Then, the screen goes black. Think it's edited? Watch closely. These are the scariest videos people swore were real.
Meu Deus! Ai!
The girls were out partying at a club for their friend's birthday, laughing, dancing, and making memories. It was supposed to be a night they would never forget. They took pictures and recorded videos to capture the fun, but later, while reviewing the footage, one clip left them frozen. A hand was resting on one girl's shoulder, and at the time, she had assumed it belonged to her friend standing nearby. But as the video continued, the face connected to that hand slowly became visible, and it was something else entirely. Pale, creepy, and unfamiliar. It looked like a passing ghost posing with them. The most terrifying part? The figure stood in one corner, yet its hand stretched unnaturally across to the other side of the frame. That birthday became unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Grief shadow.
Okay.
A woman was still grieving the recent loss of her mother when something strange happened. The moment she stepped out of her room, she noticed a black shadow of a woman moving nearby. Even more unsettling, a toy began playing on its own.
Et il ne marche plus.
Though it had no batteries. Before she could make sense of it, a voice whispered, "Hola," her mother's voice. Terrified, she ended the video immediately. It was clear the shadow wasn't her mother. Whatever had appeared seemed like a dark entity, pretending to be her mother, exploiting her grief to frighten her.
Tais-toi. Tais-toi.
Cursed home. Sometimes buying a house at a low price isn't a blessing, and this man learned it the hard way. They had just moved in, excited about their new home, when strange things began. One day, he heard voices coming from the kitchen cabinet. Nervously, he opened it. Nothing. But the next moment, as he turned back, a pale, terrifying face peeked out at him. It was unmistakably a ghost. Later, neighbors revealed the dark past. The house had once belonged to a family who lost their lives under mysterious circumstances, never laid to rest. The man moved out within days. The house still stands, empty, waiting for the next tenants. Door peeker. A woman was lying in bed, resting quietly, when she suddenly felt someone at the door. Grabbing her phone, she began recording, slowly zooming toward it. Then, just for a moment, a pale face peeked around the frame. Fear shot through her, knowing a ghost had somehow entered her home. She recoiled, heart racing, and after that fleeting glimpse, the face never appeared again. Thankfully, it was only once. Imagine seeing something like that every day in your own house. The memory alone is enough to keep anyone on edge. Baby shadow.
I don't know what it was, but it looked like a ghost. Like, literally, I think I just saw a ghost.
A lady went live on social media, not for fun, but to show her household. She pointed the camera toward a room, and there it was. A shadow playing peekaboo. It looked like the ghost of a baby. Terrified, she quickly showed the proof to the world and ended the video. Viewers thought it might be a prank, but when they replayed the footage, the shadow looked real. Since then, the girl has avoided that room. She still hears strange voices, but she never dares to open the door again.
Holy
Hospital spirit. A video from a hospital in Honduras is circulating for all the wrong reasons. A worker was doing routine rounds near a wing that had been closed for years due to renovations when strange, echoing voices began filling the empty hallway. The area was sealed, completely abandoned, yet the sounds were slow and deliberate, as if someone was speaking from within. As he moved closer, a thin figure repeatedly peeked from behind a corner. It was unnaturally skinny, its shape not quite human. Frozen in fear, he stepped back, realizing the hospital no longer owned that space. The abandoned wing had found its true resident, a spirit lingering in the dark. Mirror Ghost. You won't believe what happened during a girl's trip that was supposed to be fun and relaxing. The moment they checked into their hotel room, an uneasy feeling settled in, as if someone else was already there with them. Then, just seconds later, a pale woman's face, covered in long hair, slowly appeared in the mirror, clear enough to send them into panic, as though it had been waiting for them to notice where they had ended up. Later, a staff member revealed the truth. The hotel had been built over an old graveyard. Spirits were said to wander freely, showing themselves only to those sensitive enough to sense them, yet never causing harm. Talking statue.
Are you afraid of me?
A man was lying on his bed when he noticed something strange. The wooden statue next to him began speaking. No batteries, no wires, just words.
Hi, princess.
Terrified, he looked closer and saw a pale hand holding the statue. Before he could process it, a pale face appeared, revealing who was controlling it. It was an evil entity. That night was just the beginning. From then on, it happened every night. The spirit, drawn from a nearby graveyard, seemed attracted to his house, likely because his habit of watching horror movies had unknowingly invited real darkness inside. Dark Jinn.
Bismillah. Bismillah.
A man was exploring an abandoned place during a live TV stream. He stepped out of his car, holding only a torch, determined to show viewers what was inside. As he walked forward, the camera briefly caught a dark-faced entity in the shadows, but he didn't realize the danger he was in. Taking another step, he suddenly felt like someone was watching him. Then he saw it, a jinn standing in the darkness. That was enough. He turned and ran for his life. Who knows what might have happened if he had stayed? The entity could have followed him home, searching for a new body to claim.
أعوذ بالله.
Doppelganger haunting. This strange incident reportedly took place on November 14th, 2024, near Jakarta, Indonesia. A man walked toward the kitchen and saw his wife already there, quietly cooking. Just as he was about to approach her, he suddenly heard her voice calling from the bedroom. Confused and uneasy, he went to check, and to his shock, his wife was sitting inside the bedroom, calm and unaware. He froze. If she were here, then who was in the kitchen? A loud noise came. When he turned, a terrifying figure stood there, black-faced, wearing the same clothes as his wife. It was clear a jinn was at play. Later, they called a priest, who revealed a shocking truth. Someone had performed black magic on the couple, and they were meant to experience these hauntings. Shadow intruder. Late at night, a man was heading toward his kitchen when he noticed something strange. A shadowy figure gliding silently through his hall and vanishing into the basement, as if it already belonged there. He followed it, only to find nothing once he reached the basement. The man, recently moved into the house, realized with growing dread that his new home might already be inhabited by a dark presence. The eerie encounter left him unsettled, as if the house had its own unseen owner, one that claimed the space long before he arrived.
See, this is what I have to deal with. Here we go.
Car spirit. A man was sitting inside a hospital when he noticed something unusual in his parked car. Through the window, he saw a white figure with dark, hollow eyes sitting in the driver's seat. Alarmed, he rushed to check, but the seat was empty. As he returned to the hospital, the same ghostly figure reappeared in the car, staring at him. It seemed like he had disturbed a restless spirit, and now the entity was following him, refusing to be ignored. The encounter left him shaken, as if the car had become a hunting ground for something beyond the living. Basement encounter. A brave explorer decided to enter an abandoned building, hoping to capture signs of haunting. Everything seemed quiet at first, but as he stepped into the basement, something chilling happened. From behind a cracked wall, a creature appeared, its glowing eyes staring directly at him. The explorer froze for a moment, then the creature lunged. In the panic, he lost control of the camera, and the footage cut off abruptly. No one knows what happened next. The video leaves the terrifying encounter unresolved, and the fate of the explorer remains a haunting mystery. Demonic home. A house owner returned to his old home, which had been closed for the past 10 years. As he stepped inside, what he saw made him regret coming back. On the upper floor, in the doorway of a room, a demonic entity was standing completely still. The house he had left empty was no longer empty. It was clear that a paranormal being had taken over and claimed the home as its own. Spirit return.
Meu Deus! Ai!
A paranormal investigator returned to the infamous Maria Benzadera house for investigation. Suddenly, Maria Benzadera herself appeared in front of him, a terrifying sight that froze him in place. The house was long known for being haunted, with the vengeful spirit of a woman who had lived and passed away there. Years ago, Maria had attempted a blessing ritual, but things went horribly wrong, and she ended her life during the ceremony. Her spirit never left, making the house one of the most feared locations in the area.
Maria Benzedeira, a gente voltou.
Cursed Road.
Khanyisa. Kodwa ngathi umuntu wesifazana washona lo.
A driver was moving luggage along an abandoned road when suddenly a ghostly figure appeared in the middle of the path. Its legs and face were bent backward in an unnatural way, giving it the appearance of a cursed spirit or malevolent entity. Terrified, the driver never returned after that encounter. Only the footage of that terrifying moment remains, capturing the eerie figure for anyone brave enough to watch. It serves as a haunting reminder that some roads hold secrets that are better left undiscovered.
Sibindi, kodwa manje iyabaleka lento ayifuni ukuba ngikhanyise.
Scary apparition.
Hey!
A man was living in a joint apartment provided by his company when he began hearing strange creaking sounds from a co-worker's room. That co-worker had been on leave for 2 days. Curious, he went to check. The door was slightly open, and inside he saw a figure in a white robe moving strangely, making low, unnatural noises. He rushed in, but the figure had vanished. The room was empty except for a few cell phones left charging. CCTV later showed 2 co-workers entering that room earlier. Soon after, both of them mysteriously disappeared. The co-worker had warned everyone not to open the door. Was the entity responsible? Creepy home. A man returned home from vacation, but soon strange things began happening. Strange voices echoed through the rooms, and a few items went missing. One night, he heard faint knocking coming from a closed room. Heart pounding, he moved closer. For a brief moment, a face appeared, completely dark, with glowing eyes that seemed to stare right through him. Terrified, he recited holy verses immediately.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
He threw a light toward the corner, and it went out as if swallowed. The house had been claimed while he was away, a jinn or restless spirit waiting patiently. From that day, he never left home empty for too long.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Shadow follower. A man heard strange voices coming from a room and decided to investigate. As he stepped inside, a shadow suddenly appeared on the floor, moving in ways that made his heart race. But how could this be? The house was never supposed to be haunted. Later, the homeowner revealed the truth. Earlier that day, he had visited a graveyard. It seemed the shadow had followed him home, refusing to leave, as if some restless presence had claimed the house the moment he crossed the threshold. From that day on, every corner of the home felt alive with something unseen. Closet hand. Two friends decided to explore an abandoned house around 3 a.m., hoping to catch something strange on camera. At first, everything seemed quiet, almost normal, but as they entered a dimly lit room and approached a closet, a hand suddenly shot out, trying to pull one of them inside. Terrified, he jumped back instantly. The cameraman leaned closer to inspect, but the closet was empty. Then loud, chilling sounds began echoing through the house. Panicked, he ran and found his friend hiding behind a couch, scared enough to never enter. Not wanting to risk more, they fled, leaving the house and its angry voices behind. Such entities rarely welcome visitors in their domain. Haunted mirror. A man bought an old mirror from an antique shop and carefully placed it in his home. Soon, he noticed something strange. When he stood in front of it, decoration pieces appeared on the table, even though in reality, the table had nothing on it. The mirror didn't seem to follow the rules of reality. Then, just before he could figure out what was happening, a black shadow appeared in the reflection, and the video cut abruptly. People debated whether the mirror was cursed, tied to ancient magic, or the satanic world. Terrified, he returned it to the shop. Now, the mirror might be waiting for its next owner to reveal its dark secrets. Haunted nun. While recording, he was lying on his bed, listening to music, when the camera caught a disturbing face peeking from behind a dresser. Shocked, he got up and went closer to investigate, checking under and behind the dresser, but found nothing. Later, he replayed the footage to see what it had captured. The image revealed a face so haunting, it froze him, pale, hollow eyes staring straight at him. He showed it to a priest, who told him it looked like a teenage girl whose body had been found near a nearby village and buried without a name. Now, her restless ghost continues to haunt the neighborhood, and this time, she had found him to torment. Vanishing investigator. A paranormal investigator visited an abandoned asylum after locals reported hearing haunted voices. As he approached the building, he noticed a shadow appearing at one of the windows. Curious and determined, he stepped inside to investigate further. That's when he saw strange footsteps on the dusty floor. Not human, not animal, just something unexplainable. Moments later, his torch suddenly went off, even though the battery was brand new. It felt clear the entity didn't want him inside its territory. Then came the shocking part. When police and locals later searched for him, he was nowhere to be found. Only his camera remained, with the footage still inside. Did he run away and leave everything behind? Or did the evil presence claim him? Let me know what you think. Hospital spirit. On his very first night duty at the hospital, a guard began hearing strange, frightening voices coming from a wing that had long been closed. As he slowly approached, the sounds became clearer. Someone seemed to be grieving, breathing heavily in the darkness. He searched every corner, but there was no one there. Only the echo of those unsettling sounds. Shaken, he ended the video and walked away, convinced the wing was haunted. Later, while reviewing the footage, he noticed something chilling. A woman in a red sweater standing near the stairs as he passed by. That discovery explained why the wing was never reopened. Staff later told him it was believed to be the ghost of a patient who had passed due to medical negligence. Some spirits, they say, remain behind seeking justice. Ouija board. A group of friends gathered around an Ouija board, thinking it would just be harmless fun. They followed the ritual carefully, moving the arrow and trying to properly close the session. But something didn't seem ready to leave. Just as they were about to finish, the board suddenly dragged on its own and crashed to the floor. They froze in shock, not fully understanding what they had just done in the name of fun. The session may have ended, but whatever answered them had not. Soon after, strange paranormal activities began surrounding them. It wasn't just a game anymore. It felt like a demon had been invited, and it never truly left.
Bro, that was not us!
Demonic girl. A video captured at a busy food stall shows a girl standing calmly next to the vendor, waiting for her order. At first, everything seems normal, but suddenly, her face twists in a horrifying, demonic way. She isn't wearing a mask, and it isn't a prank or a funny expression. The change is sudden, unnatural, and terrifying. The vendor, frozen in shock, continues preparing food, unsure of what he's witnessing. For anyone watching, it's hard not to imagine serving a meal to someone who might not be entirely human or possibly possessed turns a simple visit into a chilling moment nobody would forget. Window watcher. During a birthday celebration, a girl was recording a video when she noticed something chilling. On playback, a strange face appeared at the window, staring into the room. It wasn't human. Its features were twisted, almost like a witch. The sudden, eerie presence froze everyone in fear. After seeing it on the camera, the family didn't wait another second. They hurriedly left the house. The video captured the haunting moment, leaving behind a mystery about who or what was watching them that night. Grave Phantom. A paranormal investigator flew a drone over an old cemetery, capturing footage of the gravestones. Suddenly, the drone's sensors beeped, signaling a presence nearby. He hovered in place and watched in shock as a mysterious figure appeared, floating slowly away from one of the graves. It looked like a spirit had emerged from the earth itself. Was it there to honor another soul, or was it a restless, cursed spirit wandering among the tombs? Some graves never let go of what lies within. Haunted movie. A group of independent filmmakers became fascinated with an abandoned house, convinced it would be the perfect setting for their next haunted movie. Curious and excited, the crew went to check out the location, but the moment they stepped inside, things took a violent turn. Chairs suddenly slid apart and were thrown in different directions. Doors and cupboards began slamming and smashing on their own. It was clear the spirit inside was angry, powerful enough to force them out, or even threaten their lives. Terrified, the crew fled the house immediately. Now they are still debating whether to continue the project. Sometimes turning real fear into a film sounds thrilling, until the house reminds you it isn't acting at all. Tree entity.
Como manchada, no sé qué tenga.
A man's child went missing in a park, and while searching, he spotted a terrifying entity perched on a tree. The creature emitted crying sounds, clearly trying to lure him closer. As he approached, it slowly turned its head toward him, revealing a horrifying face. Terrified, he ran away without looking back. Since that day, more stories about the tree have surfaced. Locals now avoid the area after evening, convinced that anyone who gets too close risks being possessed by the entity. The park, once lively, now carries an unsettling shadow that keeps people away after dark.
El descaro de esta manera, si es que esto es...
Forest lurker. A tourist lost his way in a dense forest and stumbled upon an abandoned building. As he cautiously explored, something caught his eye through a broken window. A dark entity lurking inside. It didn't resemble any animal he knew. Its posture and presence felt unnatural, almost demonic, like a creature out of a nightmare or an unknown cryptid. He could only watch for a moment before moving away. The building seemed alive with something otherworldly, and the forest around it suddenly felt far scarier than he had imagined. Gravedigger. A man went for a late-night walk when he heard a woman's voice nearby. He turned and saw a woman digging into the soil with her bare hands, moving very fast. When she saw him, she stopped right there. He started to walk away, but just a few steps later, she was right next to him. It was clear she was not human, but a ghostly spirit. The video ended at that moment, but the fear stayed, showing that some encounters stay with you long after they happen.
I didn't do anything.
Haunted house.
She always says it's haunted because it sounds like somebody is walking around upstairs.
A man was staying at his girlfriend's house, where she had long claimed that every night it felt as if someone was constantly going up and down the stairs. To prove her wrong, he decided to record the activity himself. Late that night, the camera captured the sound of slow footsteps descending from upstairs.
I've never heard it until now.
He walked toward the staircase to check, but no one was there. Still, the footsteps continued, as if someone unseen was pacing just out of sight. Suddenly, an invisible force pushed him violently to the ground. After the incident, neighbors admitted the same pattern had repeated for years. No one had managed to stay in that house for more than 1 or 2 nights before leaving.
Oh my god, they're like...
Poltergeist activity.
Oh my god. No. Yeah, no.
A woman was home alone when she started noticing strange things happening around her. While recording herself on camera, a jar sitting on the table suddenly began to move on its own. It slid slowly across the surface, inching closer and closer to the edge, teetering as if it might fall at any moment. The movements were not caused by any wind or vibration. It was clear something unseen was at play. It looked like a poltergeist was active in the house, making its presence known and leaving the woman shocked and terrified by the mysterious activity.
You are not welcome here. I'm telling you now, you are not welcome here.
Hostile haunting. A student staying in her hostel experienced something terrifying one night. She was in the study room when the door suddenly began opening and closing on its own. Thinking it was a prank, She stepped closer, but it swung open again by itself. She walked out to check and saw a dark, shadowy figure moving silently along the gallery above. Still unconvinced, she moved closer until it let out a piercing, unnatural scream. She ran back inside and hid under a table, calling her friend's name. The figure stood outside, watching her. Then the video abruptly cut off. The hostel, built near an old cemetery, had long carried rumors. Was it an evil spirit?
Laisse-moi.
Ghost bags. A strange incident happened in Sarasota that left a woman completely shocked. While driving, she stopped her car near a roadside recycling bin for clothes. She noticed 2 bags had fallen out onto the ground. Before she could make sense of it, another bag suddenly fell from the bin. She checked inside, but no one was there. No person had thrown the bags.
Is there someone in there?
It seemed as if an invisible, ghostly entity was playing tricks, moving the bags on its own. The bizarre sight left her rattled, and she quickly drove away, unable to explain what had just happened. Apartment entity. A girl in the Netherlands was alone in her apartment when strange things began happening late at night. The kitchen lights flickered on and off by themselves, drawers and cabinets opened on their own, and the chandelier above started swaying even though no wind was inside. When she stepped into the kitchen, everything suddenly stopped, only to start again as she returned to the living room. It became clear that the apartment was haunted. Whatever presence was there was not going to leave easily, making her realize that some places hold entities that refuse to be ignored. Haunted Gym. A fearless police encounter with the paranormal shocked everyone in India. Park authorities called the officers after outdoor gym equipment began moving on its own late at night. There was no one around, yet the machines kept shifting as if someone were using them. The officers approached and filmed the bizarre scene, visibly unsettled by what they witnessed. Despite the fear, they stayed close as the equipment continued moving without any human presence. It was clear that something unseen had taken control of the park. Since that night, the area has gained a reputation for being haunted. Vanishing figure. A man had been staying alone in his late grandfather's house in Italy when something unsettling happened. One night, as he headed to the bathroom, he noticed a pale, creepy-faced figure standing motionless behind the half-open door. Startled, he pushed the door open, but the figure had vanished. The room was completely empty. Shaken, he stepped back into the hallway, trying to convince himself it was exhaustion or imagination. But the image of that face stayed with him. After a few more uneasy nights in the house, he made a decision. He put the property up for sale and returned to his country, unwilling to spend another night there. Open discussion. A girl was home alone, filming, when she heard strange sounds coming from a room. She went to check and saw a few children and an old lady feeding them. Terrified, she ran but fainted before leaving the house. Later, a paranormal investigator explained that the house was old and had once been home to a family of ghosts. They were harmless unless disturbed. To avoid trouble, the family locked that room, and now no one dares to open it or enter. The presence of the spirit still lingers quietly inside.